we're going to talk around today around the MVP, which is like minimum viable product. However, in this session, we are going to refer to it for minimal valuable product to make sure that it's like more easy in the ear, just to make sure that make it like we use simple language. So we're going to define our MVPs, minimum valuable products, and we are going to define more our USPs, unique selling points, and we will choose what kind of USPs we will add to MVP. We will talk about later. And the most fun part, we are going to define the big vision for your business. As you know, I'm your host. My name is Fuad, champion graduated from Up Collective 2 years ago, and I'm the founder of Shift Up. For the sake of the examples today, I will just like a quick reminder, I deliver trainings and consultation for organization about understanding lived experience for refugees and asylum seekers to make their services better. So for the agenda today, we'll start with like, what's your big vision? We'll go immediately for the first breakout. And then we will talk about what is MVP and what's prototype. We'll go for a break. We'll talk after that for more examples and including the unique selling points. Then we will have our second breakout, and then we will go for feedback and next steps. So, as you know, you are in the exploring idea phase and you are at the last part of it. So you already worked on defining an idea and understand your customers and competitors. And now we are going to work for MVP for your customers. And we are going to explain that soon. Before we go into MVP, we'll talk about your vision for your business. It's time to think about your vision and how to get there. Your special idea, chosen idea, could take you to the very top. And after testing this idea, you might find another idea that is better. And that's totally fine. Remember, you know the skills now about like how to do a research, competitor research, customer research, and you actually can apply this learning for any other idea you have in the future. So today we are going to work on two versions of your idea. The first one is like your big vision that guides you, big vision about your business. So when you decide I know you decide your idea, and now you will work on the big vision of it. And later we are going to work on the very small minimum vision out of it. However, now we're going to talk or to work with your big vision. And then, as we said, we are going to talk about how to make a realistic start and build it step by step. So talking about big visions, let me share with you Duolingo vision. I hope you know Duolingo. It's an app that you learn learn language with it. I'm trying to learn Spanish. I have a good streak. I still can't speak Spanish very well. However, I enjoy working with the app. So let me share with you what's Duolingo vision. So Duolingo vision is we are here to develop the best education in the world and make it universally available. This is a very, very big vision, and that can contain so many things. Like, for example, they can build some kind of it, if it fits their work, they can build like an institution just to teach Spanish or other languages. So that's the big vision for Duolingo. And later, we are going to talk about how they develop that and their MVP and what their prototype looks like. Before, I'm going to share with you my big vision for Shift Up. It's a word where young people hold the power to create systemic change. And let me show you let me show you the how I imagine my work in 2030. So in 2030, we shift up will be working in Europe and Middle East with three permanent contracts with international development organizations. And I will have a team full of with 8 full-time employees. I hope that will happen. I don't want to say we are almost there. At least I have 5 years to reach that point. I hope so. So, what are you going to do now, guys? You are going to go immediately after this. You're going to go for your roadmap. You will go for your idea chapter, and you will work on your big vision. And remember, in your first session with like your coach and your mentor, you talked about how you imagine your big vision. Now you will include this using your ideas and how it developed after doing the research for competitor research and customer research, and you will use the notes to develop your vision. We are going to go for 30 minutes. However, I want you to make sure to discuss and document your big vision for your business. Sorry, by mistake. You are going to discuss and document your big vision for your business. Because we are going for 30 minutes, make sure it's not just about writing the big vision for your business. I want you to make a conversation with your mentor about how you will imagine your life if you got your big vision. How you will imagine your lifestyle, not just the business. And you can talk into details how you imagine the business on your big vision. If you still have time, try to imagine your business after 10 years to make it more realistic, as I mentioned in 2030, how it will look like for me. So now, guys, you will go for 30 minutes discussing about your vision. Just go for this part, the big vision part, and please enjoy the process. Now we are going to talk about MVP, minimum valuable product. So the P stands for product or service. Like in this case, it's always product or service that you want, like your product or your service. V is go for valuable, which means with value needed by customers, which means they will pay for your product if they have this value in it. And minimum 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 enough for actually launch work, and you cannot do because you cannot do the whole vision, so you will choose a part of the business you can actually run as minimum as it can. So this is MVP. What shapes your MVP? The first one is your idea should be, like as we said, valuable for customers. So it should fulfill their needs, a solution for your target customers. And it should have at least one feature that makes your idea stand out from competitors. So for example, and then for sure, we're talking about your idea in the first place. So let's imagine together that if you want to do you want to do an ice cream company, and your vision might be a big ice cream company with hundreds of flavor and operating globally. So this is like the vision for your work. Your MVP will be ice cream cart with several flavors, have some specific features. I don't know, like hummus ice cream. So you have like something you have in it, and you actually just serve in Sunday market locally. That can be the MVP for an ice cream that have the future like a very big company. So let's talk about Duolingo MVP. So I don't know if you know, but Duolingo started as a simple website, no application, a simple website that offered free and fun English lessons to Spanish speakers. That's how it started. So they don't have like the application with like so many languages you can learn. It was just English for Spanish speakers. And they kept their main features, like to make it fun and to have limited time, which mean like you can practice just for 10 minutes a day and free. So I'm just going like, this is how I just want to share because I shared with you Duolingo vision. And now I'm going to share with you my like shift up MVP. So what makes it valuable that I worked to make sure that the workshop I'm going to deliver, it will be worked on lived experience. So I have the lived experience. So we focus on lived experience. And I have attitude changing exercises in it and some recommendation for systemic change. Whatever I want to deliver, these are the features I want to do. So this is what make it valuable. What make it minimum that I actually created, what I can do low cost, so I can prepare the workshop and the training myself. And I started as one workshop. I know how to deliver. I'm ready for it, and I use my personal connections to for me to get to deliver the first session. So my minimum valuable product is one training about understanding the lived experience, that one ready training with about like understanding lived experience and engaging exercises. That's it. That's the minimum valuable product for Shift Up, my organization. Now we talked about MVP. Let's talk even now about something smaller, which is prototype. A prototype is actually a sample of your working MVP. What make it easy, cheap to build, and it's usually used for testing. As you know, you might like, as I said in my specific examples before about the ice cream. So when I talked about the ice cream examples, the MVP, as I said, like one cart locally, what's the prototype? It actually can be a small cup of ice cream. You want to test the flavor if the people like it. So you have it like one cup ice cream and asking people in an event if they like it or not. So it's not like a business they can run. It's just actually for you to test the flavor. So you have it like as you are going to do on your testing event. You will have something like a prototype of your like MVP, minimum viable product. We're going to talk about that. So as we said before, this is like a sample of your working MVP, and it's easy to test and free to deliver. Not free, like cheap for you. So I tried to create this explanation just to make a difference or to understand what's prototype and MVP in a specific kind, like in a small event. So if you can see, sorry, can you see the, I don't think you can see my like my mouse working, right?
We can,
So,
we can, we can.
you can.
Hmm.
Perfect. So actually, a prototype, like we have the MVP in here, a prototype, you actually try to test one feature or something you want customer opinion for, and you go from prototype, you have the prototype, test it. Is it good for the market? If it's yes, you put it in the MVP. If not, use the feedback to improve it or to change it even. And then you will have improved prototype, test it again, and ask again the customers or like in the market, is it good for the market? If yes, you go for MVP. If no, again, you go into the circles until it goes good for the market, and the answer should be yes. In my next example, I just like I tried to just like to figure out how, let's say, Duolingo start to test how fun is the application. So I believe they ask, is it fun like a game? So they tested with people again, is it good for the market? They say yes, and you go in their MVP, or no, use more feedback, better features, test again, and goes into this circle until we have a good feature, a good feature, and that feature will go to the MVP, the minimum valuable product. So I will tell you now my like shift up journey from the very, very big vision to the MVP. So my big vision was, as I said before, UK. We work UK and international, big team with different specialties, long-term relationship with different international organization, and for Shift Up to be a trademark. This is how imaginative I go for my vision for Shift Up. And this is my big vision. So what is like bigger MVP, which mean like not just a small MVP, just like a bigger version of it. So I work in the UK, three people in addition to me, and some recurring customers. And we have a game designed by Shift Up and set of well-known programs, not just one workshop. And I'm like, to be honest, I am already in my way there. However, when I started, my MVP was London, like to work in London, only me, to have ready training, that's good training, and one training. That's it. That's how I started. And what I have tested with the customer, which is like the prototype of my work, it's a session online. That should be online, like one word. Or what I actually did, I chose one activity, one interactive activity, and tried it with people in the test event. And I asked them if they like the activity or not. Was it engaging enough? And this is how I tested and then make sure that it will fit for the market, which mean that fit for my minimum valuable product. That's my journey. And before we go next for more example or like one big example, we are going to have 5 minutes break. So now we're going to give like a case study. John, he's Nigerian, and before coming to the UK, John was like a gym instructor. He was like loved by his community and trusted. And after he moved to the UK, unfortunately, he lost some of the like many friends, and he were not able to like to have like the same reputation or like this like the same work he had before. So in 2022, his idea was to teach children yoga. That was his idea. His dream that he believes that children should start at an early stages to connect with their body and mind, like to gain lifelong attitudes for health and fitness. Unfortunately, he want to start this, but like he doesn't have customers. He does like reputation as before, and he doesn't have the money. And after working with his mentor, the mentor told him that he need a qualification to work with, like to work in yoga with children because it need to be safe activities. So what he decided to start with, he he started to work on his qualification to be able to practice work. Before that, and instead of just waiting, he wanted to try something, if it's like to try something to make sure that his idea is working. So he offered free stretching classes to friends who have children, and then they can try it to teach it to their children themselves to make sure at the comfort of their home, because he cannot offer training to children. He doesn't have a place yet. So he started with that, and that prototype, because it cannot be a business yet. So he tried that and start to collect feedback from from his friends and from the parents and what they want for them for their children to work on. So after he getting the qualification, he rented a studio space a few hours per week, not full time, a few hours per week, and start to get more and more customers. After getting after getting some customers, he start to scaling up his business. So he rented a studio space after he saw that he was like start to so like to be sold out, and his classes start to getting popular. So he rented his place with somebody else. So he rent a place full time with somebody else. And after he start to have like more customers and the business start to be better, he got a loan. And when he got the loan, he has already the evidence that his work is like his business is working. He had like customer reviews and he start to sell out for his classes. So because of the loan, he started his own studio and started to work on his vision. So that's his journey from prototype to big long-term vision. It's not like big yet, but he started to go for the big vision of his. As we said before, after we talked about the MVP, we said you should have a unique selling points features inside the MVP. So remember, we already talked about USPs last session, and we start to imagine what unique selling points we have in our businesses. So unique selling points or USPs. So any MVP, this is like the one we are talking about now, any MVP should have one unique selling point. If you can include more, that would be perfect, but one is enough. So at least one unique selling points in the MVP. We want to make sure that your MVP include a low cost version of your unique selling points you thought about. As we said, like from the very beginning, Duolingo start to put like 10 minutes exercise and the game to make it like a game. This is the very first like the very first unique selling points while they are doing the game. So just a quick reminder, as we said, USPs is like features you add to your business. We either work on the product itself or we develop the USP or the unique selling points can just focus on the process. For example, like when phones introduced the voice recognition. So instead of writing, you can say stuff to this. So they made the process better. Customer service and experience, like Amazon, because they already consider themselves as like a very great organized like business that work on customer service, and you can return any kind of product in 30 days. So they consider to have like a great customer service. And as we said, but the fifth one or the fourth one is the unique selling point or the feature might be the story brand itself. Like my business, when I say that Shift Up is delivered by lived experience, which make it more relevant and relatable to other people. So what are you going to do now? You are going to go for your minimum valuable product, the MVP section in your work. And you will scroll, like you will go for like the describe your MVP. And there is like three things you have to fill. It's more, but like we'll start with those. The first one, describe your MVP. Describe how it looks like. What's make it minimum? What's make it valuable? And then you will choose one or more unique selling points you want to include in the MVP and a cheap version of your unique selling point on your USP you want to include in the MVP. I'll share with you mine. So, the description of my MVP is a full day in-person training about understanding the lived experience of young refugees and asylum seekers. Let's make it minimum. It doesn't cost any money to prepare for the training. I already have the information. And as I said, most of the agenda is ready to use. What's make it valuable? It covers the main features, experiencing attitude changing exercises and engaging sessions. And it will deliver new information for sure about lived experience. And it will touch a little bit about on policy and system. That was mine, what make it valuable. As I said, this is the unique selling point, delivered from lived experience background, focus on attitude changing, and focus on system change. Just a quick tips before you start. You should ask yourself how small and minimum you can go. Because remember, you want to develop your MVP concept that is low cost, quick to build, and yet valuable for your customers. That's why we say like start small as minimum as you can, because we want you, or you should start as soon as possible and start as cheap as possible, as low cost, not cheap, as low cost as possible, and make sure to include valuable USP in your work. So small as soon as possible, low cost, and have one unique selling points at least, or one USP. We don't want to include very big USPs now from your ideas and from thinking before. One cheap, like low cost USP will be great. So again, you are now going for your second breakout room. For 35 minutes, you are going to work around, not around, you will go working on these sections. Define your MVP. What's make it minimum? What's make it valuable? Have a good conversation with your mentor to discuss how small you can go and how minimum you can go for your work. What's make it valuable? And then define which USPs and features you want to include in your MVP. So define your MVP, why it's minimum, why it's valuable, and then define what USP you want to include in your MVP. Okay? And now I'm going to hand over to Nora.
Lovely. Thank you, Fuad. Sorry, there's vacuum cleaners in the background. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah.
It's not distorted. Okay, lovely. Great. So this is the standard feedback slide. I'm taking over this section because we've got a slide at the very end where I will talk through the test events that are coming up and give you a chance to ask some questions as well. But for now, it's the usual drill. We'll just do a quick feedback, some feedback. So scan the QR code. And the feedback really just has two questions. What do you think went well? And what would you change? So I'll give you 5 minutes until 52, and we'll continue after that. Okay, so thanks for doing that, everyone. Fuad, if we wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. Thank you. So today's workshop, my MVP and USPs, is the last workshop in phase 1 of the Up Collective program. So we're now going to be moving into phase 2, which is the test your idea phase. Thanks, Fred. There only exists in the second phase, there's only 2 workshops and 1 event. The 2 workshops are prepare to test your idea, and then it'll be the improve my idea. And in between those 2 workshops, you've got the actual test event. So the test event, so next week, you don't have a break week. So you actually have a workshop directly next week. So if both yourselves, entrepreneurs and mentors, agree, and if you both have time, it is recommended to still meet up, but it's not necessary because there's no break week. So if you do end up meeting up, maybe it's a shorter session, maybe just a quick catch up. But if you don't have time to do that, that's also fine. I would say entrepreneurs continue developing your MVP and your USPs, please, and start to think about what prototype you want to present at the test event, because the test event is exactly 3 weeks from today. So Fuad took you through the difference between the prototype and an MVP. So just start gathering some ideas about the test event, which then moves us on to the next slide. So guys, I have zero design skills, and this is the best that I could do. So don't ever ask me for design advice. I don't have it. I just don't. So I'll tell you a little bit about the test events though. So the test events are confirmed. Well, they have been confirmed for a while anyway, for Tuesday, 24th of June and Wednesday, 25th of June. Now, normally, if you're in the Tuesday group, you'll go to the Tuesday test event. And if you're in the Wednesday group, you'll go to the Wednesday test events. But of course, I know sometimes we've had people switch days because either the entrepreneurs or the mentors can't make it. Your coach will confirm with each of you that you're still set for the days. And if you need to switch, they'll confirm that switch with you. So the test event itself, the part that's open to the public is going to be from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. But we ask everyone to arrive on site from 4 p.m. And the reason for that is so that we can give you a tour of the space. You can get set up with your table, your presentation, or how you're going to set up your table. And then also we'll do a team meeting before we officially open to the public. And the venue of where the test event is going to take place is at Loughborough University's London campus, which is in the humongous Here East complex in Hackney Wick. The Here East complex is a major like innovation. I would say an innovation. Well, it's a complex that houses many organizations, many of whom are very innovative, let's say. And so we are, aside from Ben& Jerry's being Up Collective's partner for Up Collective, Loughborough University is going to be our event partner. So they are actually promoting it to not only their students, their faculty, but also to lots of organizations in Here East, including UCL, Ford, and various other organizations that I can't remember the names of right now. So the way that the test event will run, so last year, the way that it ran, so I hope that this is not confusing, but just to simplify it, the way that it ran last year is that we had 2 slots in the same day. So we had 2 separate groups of audiences coming in to test. But this year, we're just going to make it one large session, which is why it's going to start at 5:30, finish at 8, which means audience members can come in at any time during that period and come and test your business ideas. We make sure that everyone gets an equal amount of audience testers by splitting you into groups at reception, and then we'll assign audience members a group of tables to absolutely go and visit. And then if they have more time left, they can go and visit any other tables that they wish. So we'll make sure that there's equal numbers for testers. Your turn coach is going to follow up with you with a message with the following information, but I'll mention it here anyway. So for the test event, we're going to have everyone's going to have a feedback form, and we're going to create that for you, and we'll place that on kind of like a mini website. Now, in order to create that mini website, we need a few bits of information. We'll also print physical assets, like a literal brochure that people can hold on to on the test event day with information about each entrepreneur and their business idea. And we'll also have some slides up on screens all around the space. So in order to be able to do that, we need from each one of you, and again, your coaches will reach out about this, your business name. We need to know what prototype you're testing at the test event. So what the thing is that you're going to be testing. We need 2 or 3 sentences about yourself, just to include, to be able to include you in the brochure. We needed a picture of you for the brochure. This is all for the entrepreneurs. And then your coach will confirm with both entrepreneurs and mentors the attendance for the Tuesday or the Wednesday. Now, I'm going to pop something in the chat. Let me just grab the link quickly. And I would recommend that you read this guide. It's the test event. It's the test my idea guide. I recommend that you read it and please bookmark it and keep it safe. I recommend that you read it at least 2 or 3 times, more if possible, and just get very, very, very familiar with it because at next week's workshop, we're going to talk all about how to prepare for the test event. And if you've read that guide, you'll be super clued up and be able to engage at a higher level with next week's workshop. So please, please do read that guide. And that's both for mentors and for entrepreneurs. And I think there was a question in the chat. Let me just see how many people are typically at the test event. So normally we have around, I would say 60 in total, but because it's co-branded with Loughborough University, and because we don't have slots anymore, which takes away a lot of the restriction for people who can't either make the early slot or the late slot, so they can come at any time, we might expect higher numbers. So we're going to keep the Eventbrite numbers open, I think, for about 80, maybe 90. And sometimes, I say sometimes, it's normal that about 25% of the registrants don't show up. So, but because they're promoting it so heavily with all of these organizations, we don't really want to turn these people away who have a lot to offer. We do have the Eventbrite. We will share that with you very soon. It has already been finalized, and we ourselves, I believe it has already gone out potentially, if not today, it'll definitely go out tomorrow. We're promoting it to our Turn community. It's already being promoted, or it's being promoted tomorrow. So you might have seen it in your inbox if it has been promoted. But I'll share the Eventbrite with you all in the WhatsApp chat either tonight or tomorrow, and then you can start sharing that with your family, your friends. And then one final thing is, if you're in the Wednesday group, which you guys are, I would highly recommend that you guys go along to the Tuesday group test event. It will be really eye-opening. You guys do have an advantage over the Tuesday group over that. But of course, we're working really hard to make sure that they're super prepared. But yeah, do go along if you can. And if you do end up going along, register through the Eventbrite, because that's what we use to gauge how many people to expect, because we've also got snacks and whatnot ready on the day. Any other questions? Yes, there's a really, really lovely outdoor space in the Heres complex. If you look at that photo here, kind of bottom left, I mean, it doesn't really do it justice, but there's a huge kind of outdoor space with deck chairs and I think fake grass if anyone wanted to pop out and just kind of have a chat with other mentors or entrepreneurs or whomever you wish, or bring family members and just hang around as well. You could do that. Any other questions? Okie doke. Alrighty. Please do keep that link safe. Your coaches will follow up in WhatsApp chats today, tomorrow, asking basically for the same information. And I'll share the Eventbrite with you guys as soon as possible. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. That's everything. Have a good evening and we'll speak soon. We'll see you next week. There's no break week. See you next week.